Okay, so we've been talking about training puppies and using leashes and using collars. Real important with potty training or having a new pet in the house is helping them learn impulse control and giving them good structure when they first come into a new home, because the first 2 to 4 weeks of a new dog in a new home is an amazing opportunity to actually start fresh. Doesn't matter where they've been, it doesn't matter what life they had. The worst thing you could do to a new dog in a new home is just let them free in your home and hope that they'll train themselves. They need structure, they want structure. So the easiest way to get there, because they can't read your minds and you don't want them to fail and then you don't want them to be upset, and again, they like to do things and be told what to do, is to help them learn. So a collar and a leash and harnesses, those are the things where you have lots of choices. So these are just a few choices that we have here, and I have a whole nother bag of tons of choices, and and owners have these same choices too. So it can get pretty confusing. So the most important thing is we're going to pick something that's easy so that you're comfortable with. And for small little petite dogs, we want to make sure we don't have anything rough on their throat. When we're doing leash training in the house, it's not about keeping them next to you, keeping them at your hip all the time like we would when we're doing Obedience 101. It's more about keeping them on a leash so that we don't have to constantly find out where they are. Oh, they're not here. Oh, they've peed over there, they've pooped over there, they've chewed on something. And remember, if we're constantly not knowing where the dog is and then going after them to keep bringing them back, it's not good for them. You know, then they think, oh, I'm supposed to wander and people are going to come get me. And that puts a lot of pressure on them to actually make mistakes and not have a good routine. And it's also bad for potty training, right? And it's also inefficient for you as a person, right? You want to watch your dog, but at the same time, you got things to do. And so you're always worried about the dog. So one of the things you can do is, again, keep them with you with the right collar and leash. So little dogs like this, like my little Smiley, I could put a little light collar on him and have a small little leash that's lightweight. And again, since I'm not pulling him around, then I won't be putting any pressure on his neck. So that's something you can do. However, I really like this kind of collar. There's different types. This one's called a size right harness. So this little one fits really snug. There's no pressure on the neck actually, and it's a one snap type of harness. So every single morning, I take this off at night when Smiley goes to bed, and every single morning Smiley's routine is come, lower his little head for me, I loop it over his little head, and then I just do a one snap. I will loosen it here. And this little attachment for his ID tag and his leash, it's actually, it kind of cups his shoulder so there's no rough edges on it. So this is one of my favorite harnesses for really small petite dogs. And when I'm doing training, I can leave him on this. And again, he can be with me. He can't pee or poop anywhere because he's always with me, right? If I'm moving around the house when I'm potty training, guys, I won't tie a dog anywhere with a leash because we don't want them to get hurt, that kind of stuff. But if I'm in the kitchen, I can just step on the leash. I got to go into the next room. I can go over here with my dog. Teaches little dogs how to use leashes. It keeps them with you. It actually makes them feel really good. Okay? All right? Now, if I take the leash off my puppy, which I can, we don't always have to be on a leash, but if I take my leash off my puppy, then my puppy's teething and wandering, and then I have to constantly get the puppy. So if we are going to take the leash off the puppy, we've really got to be there. We've really got to work on training. But again, the most important thing is having something that's easy that you know how to use. All right? With a bigger dog like Heidi, this is my other dog, you've got the classic chokers. I don't like these anymore, guys. Most people, when they use these, they don't know how to fit them. If I use this choker on my dog, which I see people using, see all this lead here? Very bad, because if this, I've seen dogs get loose in the parking lot with something like this because they back up and they get out, right? So this is why we don't like chokers. at all, too much pressure on the neck. I think all these collars that have pressure on the neck, especially if you have an excited dog who pulls a lot, years later, not only can it hurt their windpipe, but it can hurt their cervical discs. They can, you can give them disc disease and neck problems later. So let's throw these out. Prong collars, worst thing you can use. Some people are still recommending them. That's horrible. That should be forbidden. It should be prohibited. You don't want any dog not pulling you because you're being mean to them. You're causing pain on their neck. So if you have that, throw it out. If you have, if you want to go one step further, so this is a martingale collar. So it slips over their head. There's no snaps to it. You want to make sure that when we're in the tightest pulling, that it's actually not going to choke your dog. So that's better than your classic choker, a martingale. And we used to use these, but again, if you have an easy-going, relaxed dog who doesn't pull, this might be fine. But if you got a puller, you're still choking them. I don't like it. So after that, you can go to your classic collar with a snap. And this is fine, but the classic mistake that people make is they put it on too loose. So if you're going to use a collar that's a snap, you want to make sure you adjust it and it doesn't loosen up on its own. But you, any collar that you put on, people put it on too loose usually because they're worried about it being too tight. That's another mistake because again, these dogs can back out when they're nervous. They come out, they're loose in the parking lot, they get hit by a car, they attack another dog. That's a problem. So if you're going to use that, you want to tighten it up until you can only have one to two fingers. 2 fingers is our general rule. That's the first test. The second test is with a 2-finger rule. Try and slip it off your dog's head. If you can slip it off, you got to tighten it until you can't slip it off anymore. Very, very important. Then we've got harnesses, guys, right? So everybody knows about the standard harness. I don't even have one here because personally, I don't like to use harnesses on stronger 40-pound and up pulling dogs. Because if you have your classic harness that they're pulling from here, it's going to make them pull more, just like a sled dog, right? A small little dog, so if we've got a 10-pound, 15-pound, 20-pound small dog who doesn't pull, your classic harness with the back attachment here is fine because they're not strong enough to kind of pull and you still have no pressure on the neck. But the best thing for any dog who pulls, or you just want to teach them how to walk the right way right from the get-go, is what we call an easy walk type harness. So it looks kind of complicated, but it's actually pretty easy. There are 2 snaps on it, but it's so simple. So this is my dog Heidi, and she used to be the classic reactive dog on a leash, always wanting to pull, but when she saw other dogs, she was such a puller. I struggled for years with the choker, didn't work. A martingale was helpful, but short-lived. Still a lot of pressure on her neck. Classic harness didn't work. Then we went to the easy walk. When I thought nothing would help, this was it. And so usually they have one strap that's a different color. So you put the regular thing over her head here. And for her, hers goes over her head, and then the different colored strap. Some have the different colored strap going on the bottom, some have the different strap going on the top. You'll figure it out, but that's that simple. Now her leash attachment goes to the front. You want to adjust these where it's not too loose. Too loose is no good. This coming down the shoulder is no good. You want it nice and snug where it's going to sit right above her shoulder, just like that. Actually, I haven't tightened this in a while, so I can snug this up a little bit. The difference between this easy walk harness versus a regular harness, again, is regular harness has an attachment here. She's still going to pull a lot. Here, the attachment is in the front. What's nice about it is almost more like how you control a horse. If she wants to pull because she's excited, she's nervous, she's seeing another dog, she will pull. If I'm on this side of her, it'll come over to that side. And if she decides to pull, it's going to pull her shoulder into my knee, into me. And that's not comfortable. So she will just actually not pull that much, because if she wants to go that way and it's pulling her this way, that's not the direction she wants. So what I've learned with these things here is to not have tension. If I create tension on her, it's going to make her nervous. So a lot of times when people are having trouble walking dogs, it's one, because they don't have the right easy walk harness. Two, because they're too tense, they're nervous. I used to be like that too, because she was a reactive dog. So I actually don't apply any tension. I'm not ever pulling or snapping or popping these leashes like you see people doing. I'll give her a little touch. I'll move her a little over. If she's really pulling in a direction I don't want her to, I'll just stop. So we actually do a lot of easy walk harness training and leash training in the house. I want them getting used to how getting comfortable with this in the house. Don't put a new harness or a new leash or new collar on a dog, especially a dog you're having trouble with walking, and expect it to learn everything in one day. Practice putting things on and doing things in the comforts of your own home so they can get used to new things. Practice walking them in your home. And then when you start to go outside, especially if you have a puller, try to go at the times where there's not a lot of dogs, there's not a lot of people, so you can kind of get comfortable with how to do it. It's like learning a new skill. You have to learn how to do it as much as the pet has to learn. And then eventually, yes, when you're getting into scenarios where your dog's going to get a little more excited, all you need to learn how to do is be less tense, breathe. If you get tense, it's going to make your dog more tense. So a lot of times when people are having issues and they don't understand, it's because they're too tense. We can help you at the Belle Mead Animal Hospital. We do behavior consults and with potty training, regular training, all kinds of issues, but teaching owners how to use these things is something that we can help you with too. Although there are a lot of good trainers as well. All right? So that's it right now as far as leashes, collars, and some harnesses. Thank you.